Hey guys, this is God of Politics and welcome back to a brand new video. But before we get started with this video, I would like to thank you all. We have just hit 300 subscribers. This is another big milestone in the increased growth that my channel has seen recently. So I'd like to continue to see all this support, and I would like to continue to see the channel grow. So make sure that you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But let's get straight into this video. So in this video, I will be doing the 2020 election map at different popular vote levels. So if the popular vote is tied, if Biden wins the popular vote by 2, if Biden wins it by 4, if Biden wins it by 6, and finally, if Biden wins the popular vote by 8. I've decided to leave it to those 5 intervals or those 5 numbers, because I don't really see much of a chance that Joe Biden wins the popular vote by over 8 percentage points, and I see almost zero chance that Trump will be able to win the popular vote, and I believe that even a tied popular vote is very unlikely in and of itself. But I will be doing those 5 numbers anyway. We will start off with the tied popular vote, and there's many states that are going to be quite interesting here. I have filled out the states that are safe on this map. And I do believe there would be states like Texas, which would be likely. Georgia would also be likely. I also do believe that Arizona would be lean. I believe that North Carolina and even Florida would be lean. I believe that Nevada would even flip to the Republican Party. I believe that Iowa would be safe. Ohio would be safe. I believe Nebraska's 2nd district would be lean towards the Republican Party. I also believe that all of the Rust Belt would be red. Minnesota would flip to the Republican column. Wisconsin would be lean Republican, and Michigan and Pennsylvania would still both be tilt Republican. I also believe New Hampshire would flip to the Republican column, and I also do believe that even Maine at large would flip to the Republican column. It would take a lot, but I do believe that the Republican Party would be able to do that. I actually do believe that Michigan and Pennsylvania would be by lean Republican margins. I'll move it into those columns, and actually, I'd probably also move North Carolina to the likely column. Donald Trump did win this state by 3.5 points in 2016. If he's going to tie the popular vote, which is a 2-point improvement nationally, I do believe that would help him win North Carolina by a likely margin. And then we only have 3 more states that are not filled in. I do believe Colorado and New Mexico would both be lean Democrat, as well as Virginia would also be lean Democrat. And yeah, so this is what I think the map would look like if the popular vote was tied. This would be a 328 to 210 victory for Donald Trump and Mike Pence over Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I really don't see this as a likely scenario, partially because of the fact that Biden will inherently get gains because he is doing a lot better in California. He's doing a lot better in Washington, in New York, Massachusetts. Even he's doing a lot better in states like Illinois, and he's also going to improve his margins in states like Texas. And what that does, it helps him with the popular vote, but it does not help him from an electoral standpoint because he's already won all of these safe blue states, and he's not going to win Texas most likely, even if he gains huge amounts of voters. So that helps him a lot with the popular vote, but not with the electoral college. So this is a tie scenario. I don't really see it as likely. Now, this is a +2 scenario that I'm going to be doing here, and this is what Hillary Clinton won the popular vote by in 2016. And again, I don't see this as the most likely scenario either because, even if all these swing states were to go by the same amounts that they went by in 2016, the popular vote would still be more in favor of Democrats. So getting right into this map, I think Michigan and Pennsylvania would both be moved to the tilt margin. I believe Nevada would stay. I believe most of these states would stay. Colorado and New Mexico would flip to being likely Democrat rather than lean Democrat. I also do believe that North Carolina would become lean Republican rather than being likely Republican, probably going by around a similar margin to what it did last time. And finally, I do believe that Maine at large would flip into the Democratic column, but both Maine 2nd and Maine 1st would stay the same, but going by around, a little different margins. So the +2 popular vote win for Biden does not look too different. There's no flips except for Maine at large in terms of the margins of the states, or there's no, flips from the actual states, but the margins do change in some of these states, and overall it looks pretty similar. Getting into the +4 popular vote win, many see this as a likely scenario, a chance for actually Donald Trump to get a victory. I do believe in this scenario, Nevada flips to the Democrats, but actually by a lean margin. I believe in the +2 scenario, Trump barely wins it, and then in the +4 scenario, Biden barely goes above 2 percentage points, which moves it into the lean margin. I also believe that Arizona would move down to the tilt margin. I believe Georgia would move down to the lean margin. Florida would move down to the tilt margin. I also do believe Virginia would move up to the likely margin. I also believe Michigan and Pennsylvania would flip, both going by tilt margins. I also believe that Minnesota would flip to the Democratic Party, and I also believe New Hampshire would flip to the Democratic Party. So as we can see here, when you make it +4, I believe finally actually, Nebraska's second would go to the Democrats. I also believe that Iowa and Ohio would both move into around likely margins. You could say they'd be in likely margins at the +2 popular vote win, but I am going to move them into likely margins. Just trying here, we've seen a lot of internal polling data recently. The Trump campaign has pulled ads out of Ohio and Iowa, showing good signs for them there maybe. Not too much attention being paid to these states anyway. They are trending towards the Republicans, but overall, this is a pretty big change in terms of the number of states flipping. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 states flipping towards the Democrats here. We had many margin changes. We had Georgia getting closer, Florida getting closer, Arizona getting closer, Virginia getting further apart towards the Democrats. I believe North Carolina would still be by a lean. Texas would barely be by a likely margin there. Arizona would be quite close at this point as well. But what is still notable is that at a +4 popular vote win, I am still projecting a very narrow victory for Donald Trump. Wisconsin would be in the tilt margin. This would be the tipping point state, and it would be a very important state in this scenario. I do believe Donald Trump will narrowly win it. And this is kind of evident because, Nate Silver actually talked about this. He's head of FiveThirtyEight. The gains that Biden is expected to make in these big states are expected to give him about a 1.5% boost on the popular vote. If you look in 2016, Hillary Clinton won by 2.1%. You add 1.5% to that, it becomes 3.6. This is 4%. So Michigan and Pennsylvania would narrowly flip. Wisconsin narrowly wouldn't flip. And so this would be a very close election overall, but Donald Trump would very, very, very narrowly pull it off. Now, getting into these last two here, first we have +6 for Biden here. I do believe at this point Arizona flips. I also do believe Florida flips. Florida is a state that does love incumbents, especially Republican incumbents. Democrats are not doing too well here at the state level, but they do still have the opportunity to win here at the national level with the presidential race. And I do believe that at this point they would be able to do that. I also believe that both Georgia and North Carolina would move into the tilt columns here. And that would also be something notable. I also believe that Nevada would go into the likely column. I believe at this point also the state of Texas moves into the lean column, probably going by around 3 to 4 percentage points at this point. I also believe Iowa and Ohio move into the lean column here, but they'd still be probably more closer to the likely column. I also believe Virginia would actually go by a safe margin. New Hampshire would go by a lean margin. Actually, probably Maine at large. I should have changed last time, but I do believe at this point Maine at large would probably go by a likely margin. Minnesota would go by a lean margin. Wisconsin would flip to the Democrats. Michigan would go by a lean margin. Pennsylvania would go by a lean margin. And Nebraska's second would flip towards the Democrats. Now, this is pretty much what I think about right now to be the most likely scenario, between 4 and 6 points of a popular vote win for Joe Biden. Right now, I do believe Florida's, a very close state. Arizona's going to be quite close. Wisconsin's going to be quite close. But I can see this as quite a likely scenario, and it's probably very close to my own prediction for a +6 popular vote Biden win. Maine second, I would also put at the likely margin there. But this is a very realistic map, I do believe. And saying, Biden +6 in the popular vote seems like a lot. But when, again, you factor in those gains in the big states and, smaller gains in the swing states, it will help Joe Biden winning the popular vote by a lot. And then we get into this final one here that is the +8 popular vote win for Joe Biden. Now, I see this as a less likely scenario for a popular vote win for Joe Biden, but he was ahead by 10 points in the polls at one point, so you can't necessarily rule this out. Now, at this point, with a Biden +8 popular vote win, the only state I do believe would flip would be the state of North Carolina. I do believe Georgia would be very narrow. I also believe Iowa and Ohio would actually be quite narrow at this point as well. But I don't believe any of those states would flip except for the state of North Carolina. I do believe Colorado and New Mexico would both be moved into the safe column. Arizona would be moved into the lean column. Florida would be moved into the lean column. Texas would be moved into the tilt column, as well as Wisconsin moved into the lean column. And Minnesota moved into the likely column. So same thing with Michigan and Pennsylvania. I also do believe Nebraska second would be in the lean column. Maine at large could be even closer to the likely column. Maine second would probably be by a lean margin there. And so this map would effectively be a landslide for Joe Biden. You could even put states like Alaska in the likely column, South Carolina in the likely column, maybe even a stretch Montana and Indiana by likely margins. I'll just put Indiana there for now. But this would be a 334 to 204 popular, electoral college win for Joe Biden with a +8 popular vote win. Is this very realistic? Not really. I don't see Joe Biden winning Michigan and Pennsylvania by likely margins. I don't see him winning Florida by a lean margin or getting South Carolina under 10 points. But that does not mean he can't win some of these big, crucial swing states like Florida and Arizona. And so, this is just going through a number of scenarios, 5 different scenarios for how the popular vote could turn out. There is a slim chance Trump could win the popular vote. There's a slim chance Biden wins the popular vote by more than 8, but we'll just have to see come November. So, again, thank you all for watching this video, guys. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for 300 subscribers, and I will see you guys later.